County road rage shooting that we have been following since 2021. It only took a jury 2 hours to reach a guilty verdict for Marcus Arce. Thank you so much for being with us, everybody. I'm Michael Brownlee.
And I'm Carolyn Johnson. The victim in this case, 6-year-old Aiden Leos. He was on his way to kindergarten when he was shot to death on the 55 freeway. NBC4's Hetty Chang has followed this trial closely, and she joins us now with reaction from Aiden's family. Hetty.
Yeah, Michael and Carolyn, we learned of the family's reaction through Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer, who showed us the text message he sent to Aiden's mother immediately following the verdict. It said, "Guilty of murder," to which she replied just 4 words: "Good, thank you, Todd." This was a swift verdict. The jury deliberated for about 15 minutes yesterday. Then after about an hour this morning, we got word they had reached a verdict. We watched as Marcus Arce, we watched him as the verdict was read. He had no reaction at all. The verdict: guilty of 1 felony count of second-degree murder and 1 felony count of shooting a firearm into an occupied vehicle. This is a case that resonated with so many people here in Orange County and beyond. At the center of this, a boy who had just turned 6 years old 10 days prior, on his way to school with his mom on May 21st, 2021, when a single bullet ripped through the trunk of his mother's car, pierced his liver, his lungs, and then his heart. Arce's defense attorney did not comment following the verdict, but DA Spitzer did speak. He says the jury made the right decision by finding Arce guilty of murder and not a lesser offense.
And had the jury allowed that to be voluntary manslaughter, if they had bought defense's argument, they would have sent a message that it's okay to carry a gun in your car, and if somebody comes by and you get into some kind of exchange and you fire your weapon, you are only responsible for voluntary manslaughter. This jury said no. Dan Feldman said no. Investigator Hale said no. Todd Spitzer said no. Joanna Clunan said no.
Joanna Clunan, Aiden's mother, was not in the courtroom today. We did hear her testimony Monday, during which she needed an emotional support dog. Arce's sentencing is scheduled for April 12th. He faces 40 years to life behind bars. Live in Santa Ana, Hetty Chang, NBC4 News.
A 37-year-old feigning to work for a home security company walks up to the door of residents whose average age was between 79 and 88 years old, and represents that he is a authority figure with the home security company, and he is going to improve their safety opportunities, while the entire time having the intent to harm them of their financial wherewithal. This is exactly the kind of case, as a prosecutor, that I love to have in my county, because it allows us to go into court and tell a sitting judge that a 37-year-old individual exploited the most vulnerable people in our society for financial gain by going into their most sacred premise, their home, and stealing from them. This is like stealing from your grandparents. That's how despicable this is. Walking in your grandparents' bedroom and stealing your grandmother's jewelry, and then going out and trying to fence that from your own family member. That's how heinous this is, in my opinion. Instead of preventing them from becoming victims, that security system that Chavez was using to target them and steal their jewelry, their credit cards, and cash, all the while trying to pretend that he was someone there to keep them safe. He's been charged with 5 felony counts of first-degree burglary, so he's having the intent to go in to steal before he entered the premises, and 5 misdemeanor counts of theft from an elder adult exceeding $950. With the charges in Orange County alone that he's currently facing, he faces a maximum sentence of 11 years and 4 months in state prison. And we will be in court unequivocally to argue that he deserves to go to state prison and serve every single day of that maximum sentence. And believe me, in our county, we hold judges accountable to hold victims and those charged with crimes accountable. And we expect our judges in our county to protect the public, and my office will be there to make those arguments. In this case, you heard that when he was arrested, he made a $50,000 bail, so he was out on bail. And in our case, we were able to successfully argue in the 5 Orange County cases that we have currently charged that he now has a $500,000 bail. Again, our prosecutors are there to protect these victims, protect any future victims. And as the captain said, we want you to come forward. We need you to tell us whether or not you have also been a victim. We need to know about that so we can hold this individual, really this total con man who exploited older individuals of really kind of their precious jewelry and other things they care so much about. We need to hold him accountable. In one of our cases, one of our victims was legally blind. Legally blind. And he was able then to continue exploit that vulnerability. That is unconscionable. We will argue those facts in front of a magistrate, and we expect this individual to go to prison for as long as possible under the law.
Lawmaker wants the state to get tough on smash and grab robbers. State Senator Bob Archuleta is introducing Senate Bill 923 to the state legislature. It targets repeat offenders, making the third strike a felony. Right now, Prop 47, which was passed in 2014, turned many felony crimes into misdemeanors. Well, this bill, dubbed the People's Bill, would reverse that for those who won't stop stealing. Orange County DA Todd Spitzer is a supporter.
It literally says, hey, if you are going to be a repeat offender and continue to steal over and over and over, we're going to do something about that. We're going to treat you differently than the person that goes in and steals and makes a mistake and repents and says they want to pay their debt to society.
Representatives of the CHP and the Orange County Sheriff's Department were also at that news conference in support.
A man convicted of raping a 9-year-old girl and a jogger in Mission Viejo has been sentenced to 140 years in prison.
Genetic genealogy led to the defendant, but also to his twin brother.
Orange County DA Todd Spitzer says Kevin Conther made incriminating statements in 2019 about the 2 rapes from the late 90s during a secretly recorded conversation with his twin brother, who was shocked by the arrest.
She was only 9 years old, for goodness sakes, but he still raped her and left her naked with only her school supplies as she ran home to tell her mom about the attack.
Conther was also sentenced Friday for the jogger and for molesting his former girlfriend's daughter in Orange County. Corbin Carson, KFI News.